90.3 WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College. Welcome to another edition of From the Press Box here every Monday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Then later on, it becomes a podcast at wherever you get podcasts. It could be at nccradio.com. Org, I should say. It could be at the iHeartRadio app. It could be at Spotify. It could be at tunein.com. It could also be on our latest partner, and that's Odyssey, AUDACY.com. My name is Rob Leonard. Joining me, of course, is my brother and co-host, Tim Leonard. And I have to bring something up before we start, brother.
Fire away, brother. I can't wait.
Our good friend Steve Mandracina, host of Everything and Anything every Friday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. right here at WHPC, he says that when we finish our show and then we post it and it becomes a podcast, yes, according to Steve Mandracina, it is not a true podcast. And I told him he was wrong. And I also told him that Tim Leonard will call him and tell him otherwise. So I hope you're ready to call him later on.
Ready to call, brother. Ready to call.
Because it is a podcast, because a podcast is something that is on demand, if you want to look at it that way. You can call it streaming if you want. I mean, it's the same thing. But anyway, Steve thinks we're not a real podcast because we don't do it for podcast only. And I said, no. We're just the opposite. We're a broadcast show and we're also a podcast. You can be two things. So anyway, brother, I'm starting out, as you know, brother, we are a soccer-friendly show. We're starting out with the soccer because I know Rita Monte, host of our Italian show here at the station every Thursday at 5 p.m., I know she was probably dancing yesterday as Italy beat up. Well, I shouldn't say beat up, but they beat. Is it England or Great Britain, brother? Does it matter?
England, brother, England.
Why do they say England for the soccer, but they don't say it for the rest of the country?
I'm not even getting into it. It's too much to explain.
Thank you. I'm glad you trust me to understand. Anyway, brother, Italy won in penalty kicks of all things. Personally, that's not the way to end a finals of this nature, but that's the way they did it. And there was a lot of Italians all over the world that were loving what happened yesterday at Wembley Stadium in England. So, brother, give us a little rundown because this, I liked about this. A goal was scored in the first 2 minutes.
How about that, brother?
And that really, to me, changes a game because once you have that lead that early, you tend to play a little different. At least I would think so. And since we have played soccer, we kind of do know that. But anyway, Italy beat England. Anyway, yes, brother. Thank you. Thank you for...
brother.
Yes, brother. Thank you. So anyway, brother, what happened with this game? Because if I'm not mistaken, Tim Leonard predicted literally everything except who was going to score.
Well, if for those listeners who were with us last week, they knew what was going to happen before it even happened.
Imagine you were a gambler and they listened to you.
If that was the case, then we would have some very fortunate and wealthy listeners at this point. Because last week I said that there would be penalty kicks for the England-Spain game in the semifinal there. And we got penalties. And I said that England and Italy would be in the final, and we got England and Italy in the final. And then I said, despite playing at home at Wembley Stadium, as you pointed out, brother, and despite shutting teams down for most of the tournament, that England was incapable of doing anything the easy way and that Italy would win. So what happens on Sunday, brother? As you just said, Italy wins the title over England in penalty kicks. What a disaster for the Three Lions. So please explain the Three Lions for the people who don't follow soccer. Three Lions is the England logo, the symbol.
Okay.
So that's what they call themselves. They are the Three Lions.
Now, how much can we blame the game being lost by England on Harry Kane? I heard that it was all his fault.
No, because they love to blame him for everything. But that's what happens. You blame your best player. Harry Kane, he had next to no service. So what do I hear from people that were dissatisfied with Harry Kane's performance during the group stage? Well, I said, Harry Kane got no service. What do you expect a forward to do when he gets no service? Well, he should drop back into the game more and go get the ball, as not wait for service.
When you say service, brother, because you start talking football instead of soccer, people might get a little lost. Service meaning passing to him.
Service meaning his teammates.
Get him the ball.
His teammate's job is to get him the ball or to get him the ball.
Okay.
That is the job of basically the other 10 players on the field. It is to get Harry Kane the ball so he can score. And that's when I say service, I mean getting him the ball in positions where he can score. And for the people that say, well, if he's not getting the ball, if he's in a position where the ball isn't getting to him, then he needs to move back into the field and get closer to the midfield and so that they can link up passes. Well, he did that yesterday, and he's still being blamed for not doing what he's supposed to do. Now, that being said, Harry Kane set up the first goal. The goals scored by Luke Shaw in the second minute that you love so much. He was the guy who sent the ball out to Kieran Trippier on the right wing, and Trippier was the guy who delivered the cross to the back post, and Luke Shaw ran into this acre of space because there was no Italian defender within 15 or 10 yards of him. And he banged the goal in from close range, hit off the left post, went in, pretty goal. But Harry Kane made that goal happen. So he can't be everywhere at the same time. He can't be, getting closer to the midfield so he can get the ball and then sending it out to the right wing and be in front of the goal at the same time. It's not possible. But that goal, it was both a blessing and a curse for England, because they immediately started playing more defensively. England in this tournament, their calling card has been defense. They didn't allow a goal until Denmark scored on them in the semifinals, and Italy finally did get a goal in the 67th minute. England's defense got sloppy on a corner kick, and the ball kind of pinged around a little bit, and I'm trying to remember the guy's name. Leonardo. What's his first or his last name? Bonucci, I think it was, something like that. But he was Leonardo Bonucci. He poked it in, and that made it 1-1. And at that point, England wasn't. They weren't really doing much offensively in the second half. But again, Harry Kane gets blamed for that. But they weren't pushing forward. They were just trying to kill off the game and get out of there with the 1-0 win. Well, after that happens and you still have 23 minutes left in the game after Italy scores, well, now you have to kind of shift gears and say, well, you know what? We're not going to win this game unless we get another goal. And England never really did that. They didn't really, and sometimes that's a very difficult thing that, when you're getting that late into a game after you've been playing for so long in one particular style, it can be very difficult to shift those gears and kind of change up and say, all right, you know what, we got to push forward now. We got to start doing things differently if we want to get this win. Now, the other kind of aspect that was looming in this game is that England has an atrocious history in penalty kicks in the Euros, in the World Cup. This result against Italy, England has been in 9 penalty kick shootouts in major international tournaments. They have won 2 of those. That's a really bad record.
Right.
So, England actually won a penalty kick shootout in the last World Cup, and the English fans were stunned because they fear penalty kicks now because it's such a bugaboo for them because they pretty much know that if they go to penalty kicks they're going to lose because that's been their history. So they're conditioned to it now. So that when this game went to penalties, I pretty much knew that England was going to lose. And then I saw the order that England manager Gareth Southgate put out there, and I mean, I kind of get why he had Harry Kane go first, because you want to get a goal. You want your first guy. There are a lot of people who say, well, put your best guy last, but it's entirely possible that you might never get to him. So I understood why Kane was going first, even though I didn't necessarily agree with it. But then the rest of the order, it was an abomination. Two guys, Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho, two guys, both of those guys came onto the field in the last minute of the game. And I'm talking about the last minute of extra time. So they came on. Right. They came on in the 119th minute, and both of them took penalty kicks. I mean, Rashford, I think, touched the ball twice, and now you're sending him up there to take a penalty.
Well, it's sort of like, but it's like someone who can do really good free throws or something, and you want to make sure he gets the ball, and then in that situation. But why would it be different for soccer?
Because it's like doing that, but not letting him practice. So, I mean, you can say, well, he's a great player and he should be able to do this in his sleep. But no, I mean, you have to warm up. You have to be ready. And yes, did he do running before he came onto the field? Did he prepare himself to play? Yes, but it's not like he's taking penalty kicks off on the side while he's getting ready. You have to develop a game time action allows you, especially early, allows a player to kind of get his touch, to get his legs under him. And I just thought that was a disastrous decision to put both of those guys on late in the game, and to then put them up for penalty kicks. Harry Maguire went second for England. So Harry Kane scored. Harry Maguire came in, stepped up, and banged a shot in. I was surprised because he's not a good offensive player. In fact, he's kind of a very kind of stiff, clunky, sort of an awkward player. But great penalty. Did the job. And then after that, it just turned into a disaster. Rashford missed, Sancho missed, and then the most bizarre decision of all was Southgate sending a 19-year-old as his fifth shooter. There was Bukayo Saka, who plays for Arsenal, and I can't really. I'm not going to kill the kid because there's no way a 19-year-old should be in that situation. And I was watching the penalty kicks with our sister Suzanne, and when Jordan Pickford, the England goalie, made a save that saved England for another moment, because they needed. If Italy would have scored their fifth kick, the game was over. But Pickford made the save. The ball hit the post, it came back out. It could have hit Pickford and bounced back in, but he grabbed it, stopped it. All right, England can breathe again. But as soon as that happened, I said to Suzanne, they still need to make this one, because it was 3-2. And Saka steps up, and again, a 19-year-old who has played 9 matches for his country, has never taken a penalty kick for his country, should have never been in this situation.
So you're saying it's a bad coach decision?
Oh, it's a horrible decision. Absolutely horrible. I don't care if the kid steps up and says, Skipper, whatever they call Southgate, I don't know what it is, but whatever they call him, and says, I want to be the guy. You know what I tell him? Son, sit down. You got plenty of time for that.
Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play.
And I'm looking at my veteran players, and I'm going to see which one of them has it on his face and in his eye that he wants to be on the spot, and he wants to be the guy who's putting the team on his shoulders for those few moments. Right. I do not ever allow the 19-year-old to put that on his shoulders with no experience. And Saka's penalty was pretty dreadful. It was nowhere near the side netting, which is what you're aiming for. The Italy goalie Gianluigi Donnarumma, who really had a quality tournament, but he went to his left. It was a fairly easy save for him. But that, and that was the game. That was game over. That was the 3 saves when a goalie makes 3 saves in fact, I don't even want to say made a save on Rashford because Rashford hit the post. But when you miss 3 out of 5 penalties, you're not going to win, and you don't deserve.
No, you're not. No, you're not. And we should say, brother, that this was the UEFA, as I was going to call it, the UFA Cup, but as you properly told me right before, it's the UEFA.
UEFA, brother. Yes, UEFA.
It was UEFA 2020, even though it was in 2021.
Well, it's Euro 2020, brother. Not UEFA 2020. Euro.
Whatever. 2020. Yes. Whatever. So technically, this is last year's tournament.
Correct. The tournament that was postponed by COVID. Exactly.
Right. So, but why did they just call it the
I don't know,
UEFA 2020?
Let's not deal. Let's not
in 2021.
I don't.
Anyway, brother.
I don't have an answer for
just for people who might be confused, this is not the World Cup. That is next year in Qatar, which will be happening in November because Qatar is about 150 degrees right now there.
Pretty much. You can fry an egg on the street every day in Qatar right now.
And there's no indoor stadiums. And so, everything's going to be played outside. In November is going to be 95 degrees. So it's going to be a horrible World Cup next year.
I'm sure it's a dry heat, brother.
Yeah, we used to hear that when we went to Palm Springs, and it would be 110 degrees.
Still sweat through your shirt as soon as you walk outside.
That's right. So anything else to mention about this game before we move on?
No, just, I mean, it was, there were parts of it that were entertaining. I enjoyed the drama. I was personally actually kind of happy when Italy scored because I wanted to see more. I wanted to see the teams get tested. And, I'm certainly never a fan of penalty kicks ending or deciding any game. But especially
I think
the final.
Yeah, final should not be judged this way.
They need to find a better way.
Maybe they should change the rules where you're allowed multiple substitution or extended substitution.
In this tournament, each team was allowed 6 substitutes. So
no, I'm talking about unlimited. Why 6? 6
is a lot, brother. I mean, come on.
Well,
how many more do you want?
What a guy could get. If you really want to make it interesting, a guy could be taken out and put back in. That would be fun. We should say one more thing about the tournament, just on an outside thing, that there were reports, and they were confirmed, that there was an onslaught of the stadium by fans who couldn't get in because of there was a COVID regulation there, 60,000 instead of 90,000 or something?
I would say that many of them got in because they said that the crowd was supposed to be 60,000. It looked more in the neighborhood of 75,000. There weren't a lot of empty seats. I'll tell you what, one other thing that I do want to mention is right now in England, they are, first of all, the fans there, so many of them are just despicable. But certainly it's a minority, but Rashford, Sancho, and Saka, all of those players are black, and they are receiving just an inordinate amount of racial abuse on social media. To the extent that it's already being called by Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, and other, the president of the FA, Gareth Southgate, the manager. People are condemning already all of this abuse and telling people to stop and get a life. And it's a soccer game or a football game, whatever you want to call it. Nobody deserves that kind of. No,
and it wasn't their fault anyway. So it's a team win or a team loss in this situation.
Exactly.
And people are just being stupid as always. The people who think that way have always been stupid. So it continues on social media because that's the bottom of the well. Let's be honest. Anyway, brother, we have. Let's see. We're in the All-Star break right now.
How about that?
Halfway point from Major League Baseball. Tonight is the Home Run Derby, which I don't know. I used to like the Home Run Derby.
You'll like it tonight, brother.
I loved it. I loved it when it was that nice TV show in 1961 with, where you had Willie Mays and Mickey Mantle and the rest of the future Hall of Famers showing up because they were going to get extra $100 or something. It's changed a little bit, but that was actually a show. shot at Los Angeles Wrigley Field. But tonight, we should say it's a couple of interesting things. Well, not tonight, but the game itself. First of all, it's in Coors Field in Colorado. It was supposed to be at the new Atlanta field, but there was some voting rights things that they pushed through, which Major League Baseball didn't approve of. And we should say, from what we've heard, if Major League Baseball hadn't done what they did, there might have been some real protesting. And,
there would have been. Undoubtedly, there would have been.
And not from the fans, but from the players. There's a good chance the players might not, be there.
Very, very possible. Athletes are becoming more vocal with their social messages, and I think that voter suppression laws would be a good reason for players to voice their dissatisfaction with Georgia and with Georgia Governor Brian Kemp. So baseball made the proactive move to say, look, Georgia, if you don't change what you're doing here with these suppression laws that you're passing so gleefully, then we're taking our All-Star game out of your state. And Georgia said, well, too bad. And then they started whining about it. But hey, it was an easy fix, and they refused to fix it. So goodbye. Yeah,
we should note that, it's a new stadium in Atlanta and the Atlanta suburbs. And usually when you get a new stadium built, what happens? You get the All-Star game eventually. So, though, did they have one at Citi Field? I guess they did.
Yes.
Because the Yankees and the Mets opened the same year. I'm trying to remember the Citi Field one. I don't remember this. I remember the Yankee Stadium one, or the new Yankee Stadium one. So, but anyway, who's going to win the home run derby tonight, brother? You're on a roll, brother, with all these predictions. So let's see if we can help someone out there.
Thank you for noticing, brother, because I'm glad that when people notice that my predictions very often are correct.
Well, of course, you're the smartest man I know.
I'm getting to the point where I'm getting really good at this.
Yes, you are, brother.
Anyway,
you have a radio show that you could pontificate on.
Exactly. I mean, the easy choice tonight for the home run derby is Shohei Ohtani, because he leads the major league in home runs. He hits bombs. Major League Baseball, I'm sure, wants him to win. Even though that really doesn't have any factor in the competition, because it's not like somebody from the MLB corporate office is going to be throwing pitches. But
you mean Rob Manfred's not going to be out there?
No, Rob Manfred will not be out. He was being booed yesterday at the Major League Baseball draft, and which we're going to mention later, because the scheduling yesterday was a disaster.
Well, you know what? He's not at the Gary Bettman level, but
he's close.
He's getting there. He's getting there, man.
Yesterday was a nightmare. But anyway, Shohei Ohtani, you know what? Great player. I still don't think he was the Rookie of the Year. I still think Miguel Andujar should have gotten it that year. But I'll tell you what, the Ohtani is having a phenomenal year, with the exception of the start that he made against the Yankees a week and a half ago, where they just destroyed him. But you can't deny the power, and the guy, he does not hit cheap home runs. He hits bombs. So I don't know that he's going to have the longest home run tonight. I don't think he necessarily will, because I think Joey Gallo probably will. But there really is something of a lack of star power in this home run derby, because yes, you have Ohtani, and he's quickly become one of the faces of Major League Baseball. And you have Juan Soto, the Nationals outfielder, who will be going against Ohtani in the first round, who is another, young, up and coming, real superstar kind of player.
Right.
Pete Alonso, who was the reigning champion, he will be in there, and Joey Gallo, like I said, who hits the ball as far as anybody. But after that, the other guys who are in this thing is Salvador Perez, who is the Royals catcher. It's all right. He's the Royals catcher. He's a good player, but how many people actually know who he is? Trevor Story, who is from the Rockies and actually has the fewest number of home runs in the competition. So that he probably, he more or less got in because he's the hometown guy, and I'm sure they want somebody to cheer for. And then Matt Olson from the Oakland Athletics, and Trey Mancini from the Baltimore Orioles. This is not star power. You know, I don't know why Aaron Judge didn't want to be in it, but certainly Aaron Judge. Wouldn't you love to watch Aaron Judge hit bombs in Colorado, brother?
Well, you know, considering the air is thin, it would be perfect for Aaron Judge.
God. Actually, he would. I can't even tell you how many 500-foot home runs he would hit. It's not even a matter he would hit one. He'd hit probably a dozen. All right, I found a list on MLB.com. It says the 5 longest home run derby home runs since 2016. The first 4 are Aaron Judge.
Wow.
513, 507, 504, and 504 again. All of those were in Marlins Park down in Miami when he won the home run derby in 2017. The 2 after that are Giancarlo Stanton. So are you noticing something here, brother?
Nah, not at all. I'm not missing it all, bro.
Yankee power. And Stanton's
not helping the Yankees though, as we had.
Well, they're helping, but they're helping, but not as much as they can be. But Stanton's was at Petco Park out in San Diego. Nice ballpark. I've been there. So that I don't see upsets happening, and you got Matt Olson going against Trey Mancini, which I don't know that anybody's necessarily. I mean, Trey Mancini's a nice story because he came back from cancer and, now he's in the home run derby. So obviously he's doing something well this year. But I think that, I think most people will be looking at, all right, Ohtani, Pete Alonso, Gallo, and Mancini. And those are your semifinalists. Alonso is then going to have to go against Ohtani, assuming Ohtani wins.
Right. So,
the polar bear might have some trouble there. I don't know. I mean, Alonso's swing has looked good, pretty good lately. Joey Gallo has 12 home runs in his last 13 games. So he's the hottest bat coming into this, even though Ohtani's been hot all season. And again, Matt Olson and Mancini, who knows? They're kind of there to fill in the field.
Right.
So,
right.
But watch one of them win it. That would shut me up. So, I can say Ohtani to me is the guy, and let's watch him hit and have some fun. But I mean, in the Colorado air, there's going to be. I think that a good line for Vegas tonight would be, what's the over under on 500-foot home runs tonight?
Yeah, I'm sure there is an under over actually, or maybe not 500, but how many total home runs happen?
Well, that's going to be in the hundreds. I mean, because you have. I mean, remember last year? I mean, or a couple of years ago, who was it? Was it Vlad Guerrero Jr. hit something like 40 home runs in his first round, and he didn't need to, but he just kept hitting bombs. And as it turned out, he wound up losing later in the competition because he was so tired from hitting home runs.
Well, that's what happens. There is talk that, one thing that the home run derby kind of can do is you can lose your swing because you're trying so hard during the derby to win or to hit as many as you can that it sort of throws your swing off maybe for part of the season afterwards or even the rest of the season. So.
Right. I think that's why Aaron Judge didn't want to be in, because especially in Colorado, I think with the thin air, I think that players are really trying to hit the ball as far as they can. And
right.
There's also the possibility of an injury. If you swing too hard, you pull an oblique, and now you're out for a month and a half. So,
well, to quote our uncle brother, one time I'm with him and a couple of people actually, and we're going to play miniature golf. And I said, "Come on, Uncle, play with us." He goes, "Oh, no. I don't want to ruin my putt playing miniature golf." So it could be the same thing.
I never understood that.
That's our uncle. So
you're putting the ball straight either way. I never understood that.
I think the windmill might have been the problem. But anyway.
Maybe he feared the clown's mouth. I don't know.
You're listening to 90.3 WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College. My name is Rob Leonard. Joining me, of course, is my brother and award-winning sports writer, Tim Leonard. We do this every Monday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And then, yes, Steve Mandracina, it does become a real podcast afterwards on all the podcast services, including Odyssey.com, which we are now partners with, AUDACY.com. And the reason I say that, brother, because on Friday, I was writing on my notice for Beatles songs I post on Facebook all the time.
Yes.
And autocorrect misspelled Odyssey.
Made it Audacity, probably.
Yeah. And I didn't really notice it. I'm when I type, I don't look what I'm writing or anything, usually because I'm usually right. But the autocorrect changed it, and I didn't know it for 25 minutes. So
right.
And then it was fixed. But why is autocorrect on everything, brother? I mean, why does Facebook have it on everything, and it's on other computer setups too, where I don't know. I'd rather.
Well, Facebook doesn't have autocorrect. The computer might have it, or
maybe something. All I know is that
I spell stuff wrong on Facebook all the time.
Well, mine doesn't. So anyway, so I just wanted to let people
just
know.
Gives you that little red squiggly line below it. I'm sure that guy, whoever created that red squiggly line, is probably a millionaire by now.
That's different. That's different. So anyway, brother, let's talk about the Yankees. They're heading into the All-Star break. I'm not sure what's going on with the Yankees. There's a lot of things that maybe could be fixed, or maybe they ride it out like they've have before, saying, okay, we're prepared, and you never know what might happen, and, blah, blah, blah. But the Yankees have been getting bad press lately. And we're not talking about
including from us, brother.
Yeah, but we're
remember last week I told you, brother, the Yankees they're certainly not a championship team. They might not even be a playoff team. So
right.
Personally, I mean, we went through this a few years ago. In fact, we went through this more than a few years ago. We went through this the year that Robinson Cano became a free agent. I said that year that the Yankees should be sellers and they should trade Robinson Cano and get a big haul of prospects for him. And they didn't do it. And then they lost him in free agency to Seattle, and they wound up with nothing. And you can't let opportunities like that slip away. Now, this season, do the Yankees need fixing? Yeah, they absolutely do. They desperately need a center fielder, even though they have Aaron Hicks still on 5 more years for his contract. They need pitching, even though they have Luis Severino coming back from Tommy John surgery. They have Corey Kluber, who should be back in less than a month from whatever shoulder injury that he had. So the help is coming, but will it get here soon enough for the Yankees to make any kind of a run? And I mean, for me, this season is quickly turning into a write-off, because I don't see the will to win on this team. I don't see the Yankees just burying teams like they've done so effectively in the past. And yesterday was the bullpen. And the bullpen has been the culprit a lot of times this season, especially with Aroldis Chapman's recent struggles. But yesterday was Chad Green, and it was the bullpen before Chad Green even got into the game.
Right.
That they gave up 6 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning. You can't do that and win games. 6 runs in the 9th inning. That's insane. So
it is.
And Chad Green gave up a 3-run home run to Jose Altuve, of all people, cheater that he is. But Domingo Germán gave up a couple of runs in that inning, and then Chad
alleged
Green came
cheater,
on.
brother.
No, he's a cheater. He's definitely the whole team. The whole team is cheaters. But here's the other thing that I wanted to bring up, brother. Is Jose Altuve hits a home run, all right, and fine, he hit a home run. I'm going to give him all credit in the world. Guy hit a home run. Your guy beat my guy, and that's what happened. But and remember, Chad Green right now is kind of the de facto Yankees closer, because Chapman, right now, Aaron Boone, the Yankee manager, doesn't have any faith at all in Chapman, because Chapman's last 7 or 8 or 9 or so appearances, he's been getting lit up. But remember in 2019, bro, let me take you back to a time, a more gentle time in the world. Jose Altuve in 2019 hit a series-winning home run off of Aroldis Chapman in the American League Championship Series, and that clinched the victory for the Astros, who then went on to the World Series. Now, long after that, brother, it was discovered that the Astros had cheated to win a World Series title with their garbage cans and all of the investigations that were done. And, you know, that was proven because they actually admitted it, but they admitted it because Major League Commissioner Rob Manfred told them they wouldn't be punished if they admitted it. So fine, they admitted it. They didn't care. They lorded it over the rest of the league. Yes, we cheated. We don't care. Too bad. We have rings. All right. So remember in 2019, as Jose Altuve was circling the bases and coming from third base to home plate, that he pulled his shirt tight and screamed at his teammates not to tear it off him as he arrived at home plate. And it's almost as if Altuve was afraid the public might see some sort of cheating device, brother. Perhaps a buzzer? I don't know.
I don't know.
But perhaps there was something inside of his uniform that he did not want people to see.
Ah.
Now, I will say again, for the record, there is no actual proof that the Astros cheated in 2019. But we do know that they cheated in 2017 and 2018.
Ah.
So draw your own conclusions.
I will draw. I got my pen out right now.
Invent your own conspiracy theories.
Guilty. Guilty.
After that game in 2019, because of course Altuve was asked, "Hey, why were you so adamant against your teammates ripping off your jersey off of you?" And he said he did not want his wife to see an embarrassing tattoo on him. Are you kidding? And I said it back then. Weak, pathetic, not true. So many, it was such an obvious lie.
It was him naked?
That's my point, brother. All right, your wife doesn't see you without a shirt in their own home. It was as big of a lie as Francisco Lindor saying that there was a raccoon or a rat in the Mets dugout. All right.
I mean, there wasn't? Oh, what are you talking about?
There was. So on Sunday, when Altuve's home run won the game, brother, he crosses home plate, and what happens? His teammates tear his jersey off his body. The Astros are celebrating. They're going crazy. Hey, we won a game. We didn't get swept by the Yankees. Did you see any pictures of Jose Altuve from Sunday's game, brother?
No.
Shirtless?
No.
His body is bare.
Maybe he had the tattoo removed, brother.
He has the tiniest little tattoo by his left clavicle, his collarbone, brother, which is barely visible. So there's no hideous or ugly or embarrassingly bad tattoo, which was his excuse in 2019. It doesn't exist,
brother. Things
does not exist on his body. So the tiny, barely visible tattoo of his wife's name by his left collarbone was the only marking on his body.
Well, so brother.
What can we take from this, brother? I want to know what can we take from this? Jose Altuve is a liar.
Well, brother, you also got to remember that maybe his religion does not allow tattoos. And
then why would he have one still? He has a tiny one.
Then he had it removed afterwards.
No, false, ridiculous, bro. Now you're inventing conspiracy theories.
I am
false.
I'm working on it right now. Anyway,
Altuve is a liar, and for me, it's likely the Astros cheated in 2019 as well. That's my takeaway.
I have no doubt about that. Let's talk about my Mets, Tim.
Well, before we get to the Mets, bro, let me just mention Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole on Saturday. What a stud. 129 pitches, brother. 3 hit shutout, 12 strikeouts. Just a beast. 129 pitches, which I'm sure you loved, was the most in Major League Baseball in more than 2 years.
I love that.
So props to Garrett Cole. And Aaron Judge came out of the dugout because he was going to bring in Aroldis Chapman for the last batter, a left-handed hitter, Yordan Alvarez. And Garrett Cole just went off, started screaming profanities, and said, we're going to win this mother bleeping game right bleeping now. And basically dismissed Aaron Boone. And Boone said, all right, you got one more hitter. and it was good morning, good afternoon, good night. Strike one, strike two, strike three, game over. See ya. Let's go home. Beautiful. Loved it.
Well, I have no problem with that, and he's right to say, hey, I want to finish this game. So
it was very Matt Harvey-like, except it worked.
Well, Matt worked for a while, brother. You got to remember that.
But in that playoff game, I'm talking about specifically.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Which again, I had no problem. I love players who want that. I love players who are willing to say, and even if it doesn't work out, I want the ball. I want the responsibility. Put it on me. Right. I don't want to come out. I still feel good, and let me do this. I love players like that.
Right. One more thing. I'm sorry, brother. No, you go. No, you go.
I'm like I said, it didn't work out for Harvey. It didn't work out for Cole.
I just wanted to say that CC Sabathia has a new book out.
Yes.
And it talks about his alcoholism. But one thing he said is he says he's in the best shape of his life.
He is. Have you seen him lately?
Yeah, I saw him being interviewed, and he got thinner, and he looks better. And I'm saying to myself, you know what? Could he pitch? Or the Yankees desperate enough to?
Probably.
Could he pitch?
First of all, you'd have to give him more than a month to get ready. So now we're already into mid-August. So what's the point? But yeah, see,
if it means the playoffs or not, yeah.
If you look at CC Sabathia, right? Find a recent picture. See, he's jacked.
He's good. He's in good shape.
He's like Vince McMahon jacked.
Well, don't say that, because God knows what Vince was using.
Well, yeah, but CC, I'm sure, is just doing it through good eating and training and taking his vitamins. But
yeah, well, guess what? Vince might not have been that way.
No, Vince definitely wasn't that way.
He was in his 60s. He was cut finer than a diamond. Come on,
Vince is definitely not that way.
Yeah, I know that. So anyway, what's going on with the Mets, brother?
Well, the Mets, Taijuan Walker was named to the All-Star team as an injury replacement, so that was a well-deserved honor for him. Walker, he's been outstanding all season, bro. I said before the season started this was going to be a good signing for the Mets, and he is again proven one of my predictions to be correct. Walker's 7-3 with a 2.50 ERA, 89 strikeouts in 90 innings. He's been outstanding all season. He's besides Jacob deGrom, he is the most reliable Mets starter. And in fact, he might even be more reliable than Jacob deGrom. And I know Met fans are going to freak when I say that. But he gets his starts in. He is there. He's not getting little injuries. He's not, it's not, oh, my elbow hurts. Oh, my shoulder hurts. I got to skip a start. He's been the rock of the Mets staff. Even though he might not have deGrom's 1.08 ERA, but this guy takes the ball every turn and he is getting results. So good for him. I think it's well deserved. I don't know if he'll actually pitch, but I hope he does get an inning because he certainly deserves it, and especially after the injuries that he's come back from and the season that he's having. I hope he does get an inning. Anyway, we keep saying the same thing every week about the Mets and the National League East. They're playing pretty well. They're not playing great, but they're playing pretty well. The Mets end the first half. They're 47-40, which isn't a great record. It's decent.
Well, they're over 500. You got 10 games over 500.
Yeah,
as Tim Leonard thinks to me is the important mark.
That is a mark. But 47-40, they have a 3.5 game lead in the National League East. The Phillies are the only other NL East team that are even at 500. The Phillies are 44-44. The Braves likely are done for the season as a competitor for the Mets because all-world outfielder Ronald Acuna Jr. tore his ACL in his right knee and needed to have surgery, so he is likely going to be out for at least 10 months. Don't expect to see him until next season, May at the earliest, because that's an injury that just takes time to heal. Right now the Phillies, and unless the Nationals all of a sudden start to catch fire and do some, the Nationals are just struggling all season. They're like 5 games under 500 or something. So it could turn into Mets and the Phillies. And if it does, then I like the Mets' chances.
I do too.
One more thing about the Mets. Mets catching prospect Francisco Alvarez, who is the number one prospect in the Mets system. He hit a solo home run to help the National League to an 8-3 win over the American League in the Futures game on Sunday. And by the way, Francisco Alvarez is a Schwami. Thank you very much. And that was the other thing I wanted to talk about with Rob Manfred, which yesterday was just so stupid. First of all, you have the Futures game. All right, that's part of the All-Star festivities. That's great. But you had the Futures game on the same day where you have 15 regular season games for your major leagues.
Right.
And then after that, because all of those games were done in the afternoon, so that they have the Major League Baseball draft that started at 7:00. It's too much. It's too much for one day.
No, I agree. The draft should be its own special day. So it gets us, if it gets, it's not like the NFL draft where, there's a lot more people interested. But still people like you know about the MLB draft, and you actually know who the players are who are getting drafted.
I know who a lot of the players are. I'm not going to sit here and claim to be any kind of an expert, because as far as the Major League Baseball draft goes, there are experts who work at MLB.com and maybe Baseball America. There are maybe a dozen people who can claim to be experts, or a dozen non-Major League Baseball employed people who can claim to be experts, because the scouts certainly are, and the
part of it is it's high school, not college.
Well, it's some high school, some college. I mean, it's players from all different areas and experience levels. So for anybody to say they're an expert, more than likely they're not. Like Jim Callis and Jonathan Mayo from MLB.com, I trust their opinions, but they're getting their stuff from the scouts who actually watch these players. So,
sure.
For how much of these players they actually see, unless they go to some showcase or something like that, then they probably aren't seeing any of these guys live. They're probably seeing tape and seeing video of them or whatever. But it's really hard to be an expert. It's just a lot of phone calls. It's a lot of conversations with scouts and GMs. It's a lot of, trying to guess which teams are going to do what and who's interested. Like who's interested in a college hitter as opposed to a high school hitter, because they're looking for somebody to progress through the system faster. And maybe the high school hitter is a better player, but you want somebody who's going to be major league ready in 2 or 3 years as opposed to 4 or 5. You're looking for something a little more of a fast track, and that's all part of the draft. There's so many aspects to it, and it's also part of what I find entertaining about the draft. But that part of it, it's tough, and like you said, I think the draft should also be its own day, but I don't know, maybe extend the All-Star break by a day. I mean, it wouldn't be the worst idea.
Well,
I'm sure the players would love it.
One of the problems is that the MLB people do not want to give up any weekend games, because that's more people go to those games than the weekday games. Now, if you would have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, then then the travel day would have to be Thursday also. So that might be the problem to get to Friday's game.
But for me, that's fine, because if you're a player, if you're a player in the All-Star game or in the Home Run Derby, then you're after your Sunday game, you're flying to Denver, and you're going to be part of it on whether it's Monday for the Home Run Derby or Tuesday for the game, and then Wednesday is basically your only day off, and you're using that day to fly to wherever your team is. So you don't really get a day off. It's all travel, and it's interviews, and then it's the game, and then you're traveling again. Maybe you get to hang out with some guys after the game or something, but not really. I mean, you're getting to sleep, and then you got to go, get to the next city. So,
brother, I got question for you. It was something that Tim Leonard, my brother, wrote on Facebook.
How about that?
I think it was yesterday or the day before. And wasn't it about a Yankee pitcher who has a better ERA than Jacob deGrom, even though he's only had like 25 innings pitch?
I did want to mention that, brother. The best pitcher in New York.
What type of trouble were you trying to post on Facebook, brother?
I know you facts, brother. Facts. Nothing but facts.
25 innings is nothing right now.
And
Jacob deGrom's had how many innings already? You
know what? That was the stat that was put up by Major League Baseball. It's not a stat I created or generated. I am not the Elias Sports Bureau, but that was the stat. After Friday's start by Nestor Cortez, the tricky left-hander with the most devastating mustache in baseball right now, 4 2/3 shutout innings against the Astros in what turned into a 4-0 Yankee win on Friday, that Nestor Cortez saw his ERA drop to 1.05. It's a smidge better than the 1.08 owned by Jacob deGrom.
But it's, so many less innings, brother. I mean,
well, you know what? All of the other guys who were on that list were relief pitchers. So that's why it said 25 innings, which is a representative number of innings. Nestor Cortez, he's untouchable.
Yeah. Okay. Because, some Met fans might have thought that you were trying to cause problems, brother.
What problems? I'm posting stats. I'm posting facts.
Jacob deGrom is one of the great pitchers right now, and you're trying to undercut.
When did I say he wasn't?
You're trying to undercut his greatness.
No. Totally untrue.
Yes.
Totally untrue. Totally untrue.
Anyway, well, okay, if you say so, brother.
I do.
We should we cover the draft? We through with the draft?
No. We haven't even talked about the draft.
Okay, we're running out of time, so let's.
I know, bro. I know. Don't worry about it. We don't have a lot of other stuff left. So, yes, the Major League Baseball draft was yesterday, brother. The Mets. I'll tell you what. If you're a Met fan today, you should be very happy because the Mets got a horse yesterday. The Mets basically got a young CC Sabathia, Kumar Rocker, who is a right-handed pitcher out of Vanderbilt. He has been at Vanderbilt for 3 seasons, and he has been a stud for the Commodores. Mid-90s fastball. He knows how to pitch, which for these young guys is not, that's something that usually develops late or later. He's already been in a lot of big games. As a freshman in the College World Series, he pitched a no-hitter and struck out 19 Dukies. So, even Duke baseball, I like it when they lose. I was just absolutely stunned that he dropped to the Mets because I expected him to go with the pick before. I don't even remember who had the 9th pick, but I expected him to go there, and he didn't. And as soon as that happened, my jaw hit the floor. I was like, oh my God, the Mets are going to get Kumar Rocker. So hopefully they get him signed as quickly as possible, and then they find somebody named Harold and take him to White Castle and maybe get him on the 7 train as well. And there's all kinds of little publicity things that they can do.
We should say, I haven't seen the guy, but no relation, of course, to John Rocker.
No,
the 7 train mentioned that.
Kumar Rocker is actually the son of former NFL defensive lineman Tracy Rocker.
Okay.
So he's a big dude. He's like 6'5", and he weighs about 240.
Yeah, but can he do what he do at that size, man?
He'd snap John Rocker in half.
Well, he was a thin guy,
So it'll be different to see the Met fans cheering for a pitcher named Rocker at this time. So
I was at the game when he came to New York after that article, and I just remember seeing batteries trying to hit him as he ran in from the left field.
I covered that game. In fact, I had to do a story on the subway. I interviewed people on the subway going.
I remember that. It was a great story.
Shea Stadium back in the day and talk to people about the 7 train and John Rocker. And I'll tell you what, a lot of people didn't care, but there were plenty of people who did. So anyway, great pick for the Mets. Great pick. I mean, Rocker is a guy who I don't know if he's a future ace, but he's certainly a future number 2. And the Mets already have Matthew Allen, who was another stud pitcher in the system. The Mets rotation has a good look for the future. So good for the Mets. The Yankees, picking at number 20, got a shortstop named Trey Sweeney out of Eastern Illinois. Certainly not a power school, but Sweeney is coming off a sophomore season that saw him named a first-team All-American by several publications and organizations. He was the first player in Eastern Illinois history to make it as a first-team All-American. In 48 games, Sweeney was .382 batting average, a 712 slugging percentage, which is phenomenal.
That's incredible.
Yeah, with 14 home runs and 58 RBIs in 48 games. And he also walked 46 times, so that means he's got a really good eye. So good raw power on this kid, even though that probably will develop. Best of all, brother, he bats left-handed. So, no, he won't be in the Bronx this season, but it's good to see the Yankees addressing the need in their organization for left-handed bats, because especially right now, the lineup is so right-handed heavy. And just for the record, Henry Davis, a catcher from the University of Louisville, was something of a surprise pick at number 1 by the Pittsburgh Pirates. And Jack Leiter, yes, he is Al's son, went number 2 to the Texas Rangers.
Good for Al's son. Good for Jack.
Gonna get a lot of money.
I hope so.
He was Kumar Rocker's teammate at Vanderbilt, by the way.
Oh, cool. Yeah. We should say the NHL, no surprise here. Lightning beat the Habs 4-1, which I remember a certain broadcaster predicted.
That was me, brother. That was another prediction. You. Another great Tim Leonard prediction. I told our listeners 2 weeks ago that Tampa Bay would win in 5. What happens if they win in 5? Some of you people got to go to Vegas or make some bets or something and let me know that you're winning.
If you only had money, brother, you could make your own bets.
If I only had a sports book is what I need.
Well, yeah, I think you should write a book.
A sports book, brother. That's where you gamble.
I know, brother. I know that. I'm laughing. I'm ha. Anyway, it wasn't even an exciting game. Maybe game 4. I don't know. It's just
Game 4 was a good game. Game 5 was kind of
you're watching it. I saw the first couple of games, and I saw game 4 also, and I'm like, the Islanders. If the Islanders had only won game 7, we would be having a parade down. Well, I hope it wouldn't be down Hempstead Turnpike. I hope they'd have it somewhere else.
Probably would be. Yeah, they probably would have had it from like Nassau Coliseum to the new building. Maybe the area.
That's too long, but I went to a couple of those parades. They were horrible. Yes. Wow. Yeah, they use like garbage trucks.
Anyway, brother, real quick. The Milwaukee Bucks beat the Phoenix Suns yesterday in Game 3, 120-100. I'll tell you what, this series is not over. For people who say the Phoenix Suns are going to win the NBA title, don't forget what the Bucks did to the Nets. So this series is not over. That's all I'm going to say.
No, it's not. Anyway, brother, that just about does it for our show today from the Press Box here every Monday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. as we talk sports, and also becomes a podcast later on, a real podcast on all podcast services. We will see.
Seems like you're trying to make a point there, brother.
I am. I'm talking to Steve Mandracina. He better be listening. He's on every Friday, 6 to 8 p.m., everything and anything. Thanks to Sean Novat for keeping us on the air. And we'll talk to you next time. Take care and bye-bye.